Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail. Today, I'd like to share my experience with the RUPES X-Cut foam-backed abrasive sand discs. And these are meant to sand top coat or clear coat, and you can even be successful sanding single stage, removing either texture or scratches. As you can see here, this panel is deeply troubled with surface scratches, topical imperfections, deep running scratches, gouges through the clear, into the base coat, down into the metal itself. So there's plenty to work on. We're just going to take a section at a time and I can demonstrate. The makeup of these discs. Well, the abrasives are aluminum oxide. They are attached to a fabric substrate, and that's attached to foam backing with hook and loop that can be attached to many different types of polishers, tools, and machines. So let me mask off a small section, and we can start to work on some of these imperfections. Now you got to keep in mind some of these will not be able to be removed completely, maybe just hidden or an improvement, as they are almost through the clear coat in some areas and completely through in others. Pretty much those along with the dents is why the door is no longer on the vehicle. The discs themselves come in many different types when it comes to the grits: 1500 grit, 2000 grit, 3000 grit. They also come in different sizes: 3-inch, 6-inch, so you can attach them to many different types of tools and machines. Today, I'm going to put them on the pneumatic 3-inch polisher here. This is the LHR 75 from RUPES, and we're going to work on this small section. Depending on the size of the disc, and we'll take the 6-inch for an example. They are about $4.99 a piece. Now you can get them by the box, you can get them one at a time. There are packages available on different websites, and I will put links down below so you can look into them further, where you buy maybe 3 or 6 or 12, and the more you buy, the bigger the discount. Throw them in a bucket of clean water minutes before you're about to use them, and they'll have plenty of moisture. Just give it a little bit of pressure, and it'll squeeze out some moisture, and that'll lay out onto the panel as you are sanding. It's also important to maybe have a 32-ounce spray bottle with nice clean water. And if you have a second person that can actually keep the water flowing through, that will keep the disc clean. Keeping the disc clean not only keeps them more effective as you're running through the panel, but also will stop pigtails and maybe some other gouges taking place from the clear coat bunching up on the pad and digging into the surface you're trying to flatten out. What I can do here, just having one hand, is stop every once in a while and clean the panel. And there are some pneumatic, more pricey machines dedicated for wet sanding that actually have a feed, so water will continuously come and flush out the panel and also the pad as you're working it. We are finish or even clear coat friendly here at the shop, so when we can spot correct or correct using wet sanding, we will, for the main purpose of keeping the temperature down on the panel. As you see, I measure before, during, and after, and there's hardly any fluctuation at all. Why is that even important at all? Maybe a question to ask by the new members or the new subscribers of the channel here. Well, if you're polishing and you're going after one area, if there's a scratch, you're going back and forth and you're doing many passes, you can spike the temperature well in excess of 150 degrees. And when you have 3 layers, primer, base coat, and clear coat, all made of different materials that are expanding and contracting in different ways, in different directions, that can really cause a lot of stress to those layers. So we try to avoid that. And what we're doing here is we're removing bigger scratches with little scratches. It's kind of funny to think about that's how we're bringing clarity and gloss to the machine. But each step down, we're using finer and finer scratching. So really coarse, aggressive scratching when it comes to sand discs, but as you see, we're stepping down now to polishes and compounds, and each step it'll get clearer and clearer, but keep in mind we're just scratching it with less aggressive, more finer abrasives. Now, there are many ways to polish out and finish panels that have been sanded, but that all depends on the hardness of the clear, what you have been going after. In most cases, on really hard, stubborn clear coat, you can use a medium polish, and in just one step, you'll have it clear enough where you can actually add protection. That's if you're lucky. But on most vehicles, like the newer ones today, you're going to have soft clear coat, and this panel happens to have medium, leaning towards soft clear coat, and that may take many steps to finish out. So this is what it looks like after the first step. It's getting clear and clear, but there may be multiple steps needed to bring out the most clarity, the most reflection, and the most depth out of the panel that you were working on. So we're going to keep stepping down, and you'll see it'll get better and better. As we go back and forth and we take a look at each side of the masking tape, you can see those topical scratches and some of the medium scratches were removed in just the little work we did there. It depends really what you're going after. You just need to spend less time or more time wet sanding. And the deeper scratches going through the clear coat, like they're still there, they are improved and they will look a little bit better once everything's cleared up and you have protection on it. So much improvement can be made. But there's a lot of information I'd like to share with you in this video, and I hope I can squeeze it all in here. When you saw the technique in that first little test area, there are many ways that you can go about wet sanding. And as you can see here, we're taping off another section that is troubled, and we'll work on that with the larger discs that you can actually attach to polishers. Here are those larger 6-inch discs, and you'll see I have 1500, 2000, 3000 grit. And you can attach those to the traditional dedicated sanders. They're mostly pneumatic sanders. You can get electric too, but you really don't need those. Those are cumbersome, heavy, and you have the hose, the pneumatic hose. If you don't have the right type of hoses, they can really be hard to manage. So if you have a polisher, that's really all you need. You can attach them to them as well. These are some of the imperfections we're going on in this little section here. So now we can get back and talk about technique, and there's two different types of technique depending on what I'm working on. If I'm just spot correcting and I'm going after one little area at a time, I'm going to have quicker arm movements moving back and forth so I can kind of keep an eye on the area and the progress that I'm making. And if I'm just removing texture, which is very, very rare, I only remove texture on custom paint jobs where there's a ton of clear. You will never see me do that on stock manufactured clear coat. It's just too thin and not worth it. But there I will have slow arm movements, and I'll do a crisscross pattern, and that will ensure an even cut all the way across the panel. It's important to me to have the polisher turned down low. There are many techniques out there. There are many ways to do it. Some will have the polisher or the machine blasting on full speed, but when you see me work, it's mostly always going to be under control. And that's with arm movements, the movement of the polisher, the speed of the polisher. Everything is smooth, fluid, and exaggerated. Okay, so as we come in closer, believe it or not, this is what progress looks like. It may be cloudy and not very clear, but a lot of the deeper scratches have been improved or removed. So what we're going to step down to is 3000 grit from the 2000 grit discs. Yeah, you can grab a harsh compound and polish out what I have on that little test area right now, but you're going to be spiking temperatures because it's going to take many passes. So I'm going to step down to 3000 grit, and it'll clear up that area a little bit further, and it'll take a less aggressive compound and pad and less passes to clear it up and polish it out from there, keeping the temperature down on the panel. And as you can see there, I'm trying to keep the panel flush off. The white substance or the milky substance you're seeing that's being pulled up from the panel, from the pad, that's clear coat. So we want to flush that away as often as we can. And that's on clear coat. On single stage, the foam that you would see that the pad would be pulling up would be the color of whatever vehicle you were working on. If you were working on red, you would get a red foam or a red liquid. Black, it would be the same color. And all you would really need to do is just finish out from there. Depending on what clear coat you're working on, it may take less steps, it may take more steps. I'm not going to go as far as I would be to be satisfied on this panel, but I just want to give you an idea of how to get there. And as you can see in this little test area, a lot of those harsh, deep scratches were removed, the deeper ones were improved, and all you need to do is just finish it out to your liking from there. These X-Cut discs from RUPES are very valuable here at the shop, and they will get a very impressive rating here at the shop as well. And they're now easier to get for me than the Trizact discs. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope it helped. This has been Brian from Apex Detail. I'll catch you in the next video.